My next guest is coming off an incredible performance against Kevin Holland, getting it done with a 4th-round TKO victory at UFC Fight Night, UFC Orlando, December 3rd. It's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson back here on the program. Stephen, how are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Back at home here in good old Simpsonville, South Carolina. I got my bro in here with me. Sweet tea. We're enjoying the W, man.
Yeah, and it's well-deserved, man. And we'll talk about the performance in a second here. But I was curious going into the fight, like, I know you did Holland's podcast. You guys were pretty friendly. I don't remember you having an opponent where it was this sort of close to the vest sort of going in. How was that mentally for you going into the fight? I was curious about that.
It was great, man. It was easy, man. Be able to go out there and knowing that, you have an opponent that's game, who's cordial, that you can get along with, that you don't have to walk through the hotel and worry about where they're at because if they're going to talk trash or, try to do something crazy. Every time I saw him, he was all smiles. He had nothing but good things to say. But that said, we're professionals. We know exactly what we're going to be doing, that Saturday. So we were down to go out there and put on a show for the fans. And I told the UFC, you give me a strike, you give me Kevin Holland, it's going to be a barn burner for sure.
And I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask anyways. Do you prefer that in an opponent? Would you rather have your opponents be cool and all this going in? Or do you like, maybe having an opponent getting under your skin or anything like that?
No, I really don't have I don't let people get under my skin,
I know. It's amazing. It's a great quality in you, man. I think that's awesome.
I just eat them up with niceness. I just smile at them, It kind of, with guys that get frustrated, they get more frustrated when I do smile at them, when I don't get, when they don't trigger me. So it was great. Yeah, man, I prefer guys like Kevin Holland.
Have you seen the movie Roadhouse before with Patrick Swayze?
I have, but it's been years ago.
Okay, because there's a great line in that movie where, of course, he's a bouncer and he's trying to, diffuse these situations with these rowdy bar guys. And rule number one that he tells the fellow bouncers is be nice. And the reason for that is obviously because, that's the best way to handle the situation. So I was just wondering, it sounds like you subscribe to that as well, is that, don't fire back. Don't let your emotions get out of hand. Be nice, right? So you were looking like Patrick Swayze going in to most of your fights. So there you go.
It's funny you brought that up because they're doing a remake. And
I know with Connor. I know. It's crazy. Yeah.
Is in it. So, yeah, man, that's crazy you brought that came to your head.
Yeah, no, listen, all-time guys movie. If you haven't seen Roadhouse, you're not doing your homework. Let's talk about the fight itself. First round, I got to ask, he did get you with the shot there. Were you hurt at all? What was going through your head when that happened?
Yeah, I think that's the hand. That's the shot that he hurt his hand on too. Hit him right in the forehead, right on top of the head. It actually made my ears ring.
Okay.
It staggered me a little bit, made my ears ring, but it wasn't it's not like a flash knockdown or anything like that. I was still coherent, still able to move and recover fairly quickly. But I do believe that is the shot he hurt his hand on. I think where he started it. I think later on in the fight, me aiming for it with my back leg roundhouse kick and using my heel because I knew he had to block with that hand. That's his bread and butter. I think did a lot of damage to it as well, did most of the damage. But he hurt it with that one right hand in the first round. But like I said, made my ears ring a little bit, but I recovered very well and got back in there in the game.
Yeah, you certainly did. At what point did you know his hand was broken? Did you even know throughout the fight?
I think it was probably late in the third because at that point, after kicking it a few times, I can see he wasn't throwing the hand a whole lot. He was throwing more elbows. He was swinging, but it was more of a swing and miss. I'm going to swing at you. You better stay away from me type deal. So I think from then on, that's when I started to really aim for it. Really kick to the body, get him to drop his hands. I had a few liver shots, but I knew if I threw my head kicks that he had to block with that hand. And the more he blocked with it, the more damage is going to be caused to that hand, the less he's going to use it.
At what point did you know you were taking over the fight? Because there was that point where you could just see the tide. I mean, not that other than the first round, obviously you getting hit there, but there was a point where you were sort of taking things over. At what point did you realize that?
It took me a little while to kind of figure out his range. He's so good with it. And I had some guys here at the gym that simulated him who had long range, but he just utilized it a whole lot differently than what most people would use his, their reach. So he closed the gap very well. He had great timing. It was fairly quick. But I think when I started to find my timing and range late in the second round, and then third and fourth, I just kind of took over.
So you get the win. His team's thrown in the towel, which, by the way, credit to their team, like, for identifying that, because we live in sort of a sport where it's like, no, I got to fight till the death, right? But it's I think everyone agreed that was the right call here. Once you found out you got the TKO finish, so to speak, how did you celebrate after the fight?
Man, okay, so we didn't get back to the hotel room till like 5:30.
Really? Wow.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I know media and
5:30
stuff, and you were the main event. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it was around. The fight was probably over around 2-ish. And we got to the back, had to do some media stuff, got sewn up, and we didn't make it back to the hotel around 5. I didn't get to bed till about 6:30. So we went back. I didn't have anything to eat. Actually, I take that back. There was a few people partying down the lobby, and they gave me a slice of pizza, which I took, obviously, with a smile on my face. I'm not going to turn down pizza at that point. But, man, I just went up there, hung out with the family for a little bit, and we all went to bed. I was exhausted.
I bet.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
So didn't do a whole lot, but just hang out with family, to be honest with you.
And I don't know if you pay attention to this or not, but when the fight started, you were the betting underdog going in. Were you surprised by that?
I don't even look at that, to be honest with you.
No? Okay.
I mean, I've been the underdog so many times and come out on top. It doesn't bother me that much. I mean, he's a young guy. He's been knocking dudes out. Kevin Holland's young. He's 10 years my senior. So it kind of made sense. But that said, I didn't say it didn't give me any fuel to go out there, really put on a show and let everybody know that I'm still in this game. And that's how I use it. I use that as fuel.
Everyone's been talking about this fight of the year, all this stuff. What's been the feedback, man? That's got to feel good to just, get the fight. Because this is something you said. You wanted the opponent who's going to bring the best out of you. We saw that. Everyone loves it. Like, you must be feeling this week's must have been awesome. Must have been reminding you back in the days when, you were knocking out Jake Ellenberger and stuff,
Yeah, man. I mean, this week has been great. I mean, to go out there and put on a performance like that, finish the guy in the fourth round, it was just, there's nothing better that I could ask for than just a first round finish. I mean, I told everybody that we were going to put on a show, that you're going to see the best Evil Wonder Boy Thompson, and I did that. For people to say that it was up for fight of the year is just a bonus, man. It's just great. I was back here teaching classes on Monday. And everybody's ecstatic. We had a ton of families go out there to Orlando to cheer me on. So to be able to talk with them back here at home and to get the welcome that I got it was all worth it, man. It was so cool.
What's that feeling like, man? You get this huge win. You go back in the gym. You see, like, I got 2 kids, and I know, when I do anything, I come home, you see the kids. It's just that great feeling. But you have like a family of, students that you teach. Like, take me back to that moment after a big fight. You get in, you see everyone. What's that moment like for you, man? That's got to feel amazing.
It is amazing. It really is, man. To be able to see everybody because we have people that it's been a year since I fought. We've had a lot of new students sign up between that, in between that time, and people just don't really realize what I do for a living, obviously teaching classes, but not the combative side of it. So after that, they were like, my goodness, I had no idea, man. You were just amazing. And of course, to be able to see the kids and the smiles on their faces and the things that come out of their mouths, Mr. Steven, I know you want to fight, but I saw you get beat up out there. I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, chill. Yeah. It's awesome, man. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it.
So what's the latest with the hand? And I guess, part 2 to that question is, when are you looking to have that next fight? We're a couple days removed. You sort of have a ballpark of when you want to get back in there.
So found out today, broke the 1 and 2 metacarpal in my hand. So I don't think I have to have surgery. The placement is the bones are still lined up. So they weren't displaced, which is awesome. I will definitely have to have a cast. They put me on a 6-month suspension. But, there was a few names that were thrown out there. Conor McGregor. You had George Masvidal, obviously, which is awesome. I think it would be a great show as well. He always brings it. And Michel Pereira, which was, I'm all for any one of those 3 guys. So I'm not really sure when, but hopefully it's sooner than later. Got to go see the doctor tomorrow, the hand doctor, and we'll go from there.
So yeah, kind of ballparking though, probably 6 months, I would think, just with the suspension and everything. That's kind of what we're looking at the earliest. What about another name I'll throw out? We've also got a big win on the card. Is Rafael dos Anjos? Is that a fight? I mean, that's a fresh matchup. He's a former champion. Is that a fight that would interest you at all?
100%, man. RDA. I know he's looking for the Conor McGregor fight, but he's a veteran as well, and I wouldn't mind going out there and put on a show with the fans with RDA. That would be great.
We haven't spoken, I don't think, since Alex Pereira defeated Israel Adesanya. I was just curious your thoughts on his win and being the first guy to finish Israel Adesanya in the UFC.
Well, number one, it showed his resilience, man. He's such a tough guy. I mean, Izzy almost finished him. I think it was in the first. Hit him with some good shots, but he recovered, came back, and got the W. It's like I said, it showed the resilience of Alex, the toughness and the grind to keep on pushing forward. I'm excited to see that fight again. I think it was great that Alex won it. It's good to mix up that 185 division a little bit, get him talking. But I would love to see that fight again. Is that one booked yet?
They haven't booked it yet, but it looks like that's what's going to happen next, I would think, because Adesanya had so many title defenses, right? So
yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Do you if they were to fight and have the rematch in the cage, would you favor Izzy because he was up in the fight, or do you think Pereira's got his number?
No, I think Izzy's got it. I think Izzy's going to win it. I think he's going to get it back, get that championship belt back.
And I know I always ask you this, but I always have to try and keep tabs. Your contract, what's the latest on that? You have a couple more fights, or what's the deal? Because this was a main event, obviously, so that's a big fight, right?
Yeah, so we have 4 more fights left on this contract.
Nice. Okay.
We signed a new one. I think it was with the Bilal before the Bilal Muhammad fight.
Right. Okay.
So we fought. I think it was a 5 or 6 fight deal. So I think we have 4 more fights.
And then a 2-part question here, and I always ask you this as well. Age does not seem to be a number with you because you just come off a huge performance. Getting that win and seeing how well you performed and everything else, does that extend the timeline a little bit longer of how much longer you want to keep fighting just based off what you did on Saturday?
Yeah, man. I mean, I know what I'm capable of, and when I have fights like that, like I could fight forever. I could fight for days. Like I said, I mean, I got a few headbutts out there, injured my hand, which was a hand that I previously injured with Vicente Luque. But like I said, I don't take too much damage. I got hit one time in the fight that staggered me a little bit, but nothing too crazy. I can do this all day. All day.
Your career ended and you never won a UFC title. Would you still be very happy with how your career has turned out and who you fought and the fights you've been in? Is that something you'd sort of look back on and say, yeah, I had a great career?
Oh, yeah, man, 100%. I mean, with the guys, the travel, the guys that I fought, but, I'm always looking for the title. You know that. I'm always going. That's number one at the top of the list. Yeah. But if something happened yesterday, I injured, and the doctor said I'd never be able to fight again, I would be happy with everybody that I faced. I would be, I mean, who can say they fought the best fighters in the world?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who can? I mean, very few people can say that at the highest level. I think when I think of the UFC, that is the highest level in my eyes. Yeah. So yeah, I'd be happy for sure.
And, again, not looking past, next couple of years here, but is coaching what you think you would be doing after your career is over? Because it seems like it's been a natural fit for you.
Oh, yeah. Helping fighters get ready for their fights. I'd still be training. So I got many years to come to help these guys get ready. The up-and-coming kids, helping the amateurs, helping the pros. That's what I do, man. That's my first love is teaching.
Would you want to work with like UFC fighters? Do like kind of what Khabib's doing now, which is, finding success in his own career, now translating that to guys like Islam and other UFC fighters? Is that, because I know you teach kids, but would you want to get into coaching, UFC fighters as well?
I think that would be really cool, man. Oh yeah, I'm all for that, man. To be able to pass down my knowledge, my experience being out there in the octagon and pass that down to the up and coming fighters, I think would be great. That's always been a passion of mine, and helping these guys get to the UFC here at our gym is my number one priority.
Going to take a sharp turn here. We were just talking about coaching. This James Krause thing, obviously he's been banned. He can't corner his fighters. What do you make of this? I'm sure you've been kind of seeing a little bit in the news.
Yeah, a little bit, man. I think it's crazy. I think it's wild, man. I've never been a betting man myself, but I think with the whole situation, the way, the UFC is, I think if you even train out of the gym, like you can't.
Yeah. So basically UFC fighters cannot train with Krause because they will not be allowed to compete. So they've had to now, like we're talking Brandon Moreno, so many other fighters, they're now having to switch gyms, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man. I mean, that completely, it ruins him. It ruins Krause, man. That's how he made his bread and butter. Yes, he was a teacher, but he also trained a slew of UFC fighters. So, man, I just hope everything turns out okay and for him and his gym. But Man, that's one of the reasons I don't bet, man. That's why I
Yeah.
don't do it.
Well, just one more thing on that. Like they also implemented a new policy where fighters cannot bet on themselves. Do you think that's a good policy? Because we had a fighter actually. No one, I think people forget about this. Justin James, who's a UFC lightweight fighter, bet his entire purse on his fight. He lost a split decision, so he didn't get any money for that fight. So there's kind of the danger in that. But what do you think about the idea of fighters not being allowed to bet on themselves?
Yeah, man. I mean, you should just be focused on the fight. Like, don't worry about what's going outside of that. I mean, I agree. Just because I don't do it, and it's just another hassle, another thing you got to think about. I think you should be solely focused on the fight, and that's it. Don't
Yeah.
worry about that other stuff. That you can do that after your fight career.
Yeah, well said. Well said. What are your holiday plans? I know every year you do the sleepover at the gym. Are you still doing that? What's on the agenda? Because I know you love the holiday season. You're all into it.
Love it, man. I love it. I literally have my Christmas tree up the day after Halloween, man.
So did I. So did I. I'm the same way, man. You and I are I'm a family guy, so I love getting into the spirit and stuff. Got the
I
Christmas
love it.
lights up. Risked my life to do it, but I still got them up and everything, so it's good.
Watching the Christmas movies, we're all for it. So we're going on vacation.
Oh,
We'll
nice.
be gone for a week. Yeah.
Where are you going?
So we're going to the Bahamas.
Oh,
So we
congrats.
got
That's
a house
awesome.
rented out there. Little beach, a little different. Normally we go somewhere where it's snowing,
Yeah.
maybe get some skiing or some snowboarding in. But this time we decided to switch it up. Bahamas, we're going to go out that way, hang out for a little bit. But yeah, man, we're still doing I think we're still doing our New Year's Eve sleepover we do every year. I've been doing for the past 39 years, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we're all for it. We're all excited and ready to party down.
Favorite Christmas movie? Does one come to mind when I say that?
Oh man, I have a ton of Christmas movies. Man, I mean, obviously the first two Home Alones, which
Yeah.
are awesome.
So
I
good.
just watched Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2, which I thought was awesome.
Mhm.
Santa Claus, which is good. Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You remember
Yeah.
that one?
Of course.
Kids
Yeah.
don't remember that one. That was a solid Christmas movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't
Was.
seen Jingle All the Way, check it out, guys.
For sure. Also would have accepted Die Hard. Steven, thank you
Oh,
so
yeah,
much for
Die
doing
Hard, of course.
Thanks so much for doing this, man. I know you're doing a ton of media. I know you got a lot going on. I always appreciate you taking the time, man. If there's anyone you'd like to thank before we get out of here, you got the YouTube channel. You got a bunch of other stuff, I'm sure. I'll give you the last word.
Man, I want to thank you for having me on, my friend. But everybody, follow me on social media on Facebook, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Instagram, Twitter. It's Stephen Wonderboy MMA. But thank you, my friend, for having me on. I appreciate you.